out, I command you. Leave her now. The power of God compels you to release this vessel.
Oh Lord, hear our prayers. Deliver her, Jesus.
They brought 3 more people over the next 2 days. A pastor who prayed over Nkem for 2 hours and commanded the bead to fall, and it did not fall. A man from the next village who was known for removing spiritual items, who took one look at the bead and quietly refused to touch it. And an older woman, a retired midwife with a reputation for knowing things, who came, examined the cord, and said 6 words that settled into the room like stones into still water. This one was tied with life. Nkem's mother did not leave her daughter's side after that. She slept in the same room, ate whatever Nkem ate, sang softly when Nkem could not sleep, which was often. Nkem herself said very little in those days. The weakness had moved beyond her body now. It was in her voice, in her eyes, in the quality of her attention. She would begin sentences and forget them. She would look at the window and seem to be watching something that was not there. Once, on the 8th evening, she turned to her mother and said, "Mama, the bead is getting lighter." "What do you mean lighter?" "I can't feel it as much. Before it was heavy. Now it's like it's almost empty." Her mother began to pray again, loudly, desperately, the kind of praying that is not prayer so much as argument, the kind a person makes when they know they are losing something and are not yet ready to stop fighting. Nkem died on the 10th morning, quietly, between one breath and the next, while her mother held both her hands and the room held the pale grey light that comes just before the sun properly rises. There was no drama in it, no final words. She simply stopped, and the room understood, before anyone said anything, and for a long moment, no one moved. Then Nkem's mother made a sound that had no name. The news moved through Oluwanta, the way fire moves through dry grass. Fast, total, leaving nothing untouched. People stood in doorways and said Nkem's name. Women who had only bought pepper from her for one day wept genuinely. The market women covered their stalls. Auntie Remy, who had made her laugh on her first morning in the village, sat outside her house and said nothing for a very long time. But nobody said Mama Sade's name. Not publicly, not where it could be heard. Bisi said it once to her mother in their kitchen with the door closed. Her mother pressed a hand over her mouth before she finished the sentence. "Don't. Do you understand me? Don't." "But Mama, that girl is gone." Speaking names does not bring people back. It only tells certain things where to look next. Bisi looked at her mother's face and understood that this was not weakness. This was a calculation, the kind that kept people alive. She nodded and said nothing more. But she thought it. She thought it with the specific, burning clarity of a 15-year-old girl who had said, "I warned you," and had not been believed, and who now had to live inside that knowledge for the rest of her life. On the 3rd night after Nkem's burial, Mama Sade's compound was dark by 7, as it always was. No lamp, no fire, no sound. The village was quiet around it. The silence it always kept near that place, respectful or fearful or both. Inside, in a room that had not seen visitors in more than a decade, Mama Sade sat on the floor with her back against the wall and the waist bead coiled in her lap. In the darkness, it gave off a faint, warm light, barely visible, the kind of glow that a person might convince themselves they had not seen if they only glimpsed it for a second. But in that room, with no other light, it was unmistakable. She watched it glow. She watched the light move slowly through the beads, pulsing at intervals, like breath. Then it stilled. The gold went out of it. The deep red went darker. And in the silence that followed, Mama Sade exhaled, a long, slow, complete breath. And when she raised her hand and held it in front of her face, it was the hand of a woman 20 years younger than the one who had sat in this room the week before. The veins were still visible, but less pronounced. The skin still dry, but less cracked. The grip, when she tested it, was firm. She stood without using the wall. She walked to the narrow window and looked out at Oluwanta, the dark outlines of houses, the distant glow of a lamp in someone's window, the road that led in from the next village, and the road that led out toward Ado. She looked at all of it with the patience of someone who has learned to see things across a very long distance of time. Another year added. She turned from the window. She went to the door of the compound and opened it and stood in the frame, and the night air moved around her, and she looked toward the road from Agbado, the road that the girl with the basin and the open smile had come down 8 days ago, not knowing anything. She stood there for a long time, waiting, watching, the way she always waited, the way she always watched. In Oluwanta, people feared many things: drought, debt, sickness, the distance between one harvest and the next. But none of those fears had a face. None of them had eyes that could find you in a crowd. None of them could call you in from the gate with a calm voice that sounded like welcome and meant something else entirely. Nkem had been 26 years old, and kind, and alive, and none of that had protected her. The road from Agbado was empty tonight, but tomorrow was market day, and market day always brought new faces to Oluwanta. And new faces meant new people who had not yet heard the stories, new people who might see an isolated compound and feel in their good hearts the pull of someone who might need help. Mama Sade was very patient. She had learned across many years and many market days and many beads coiled in the dark that patience was a kind of power, perhaps the most reliable kind. The kind that did not burn or break. The kind that simply waited and smiled when the time came and knew exactly what to offer and when. She closed the compound gate softly. She went inside. The light under her door went out, and Oluwanta slept, as it always did, uneasily, quietly, with the particular care of a village that had learned, without ever fully saying so, that some doors were closed for reasons that had nothing to do with sleep. If this story reached something in you, like this video, share it with someone who loves a good story, and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Drop a comment below. What would you have done if you were Nkem? Would kindness have won, or wisdom?